if you're on a fitness journey, I need you to fundamentally reconsider what the word consistency means to you. Okay, that's what this week's long form is all about. If we haven't met before, hi, my name is Coach Jess. I'm the head coach here at Shine Fit. I've been the head coach for 5 years. I've been a fitness trainer for 7. I've been working in fitness recreation for over a decade, and I've worked with thousands of women. So anything you're struggling with when it comes to fitness, I've probably seen before and can help you with. And this is a common one I see, especially with a certain type of high achieving type A personality who is trying to get fitness perfect, like a box that you check in your life, right? Trying to get a gold star or an A+ in fitness. And so often we confuse perfection with consistency. Let me repeat that. So often we confuse perfection with consistency, okay? Consistency doesn't mean you're getting something perfect. It means you're doing it over a long duration of time, okay? At regular intervals throughout a long duration of time. Now, if you were to say, I can tell you, I consistently work out 5 days a week. This is my routine. But that doesn't mean there hasn't been weeks where I haven't done 4 days or 6 days because I've been sick or traveling or I had to sub an extra class that I'm teaching. But if you average it out over the past 5 years and you take the past 5 years of data that I've been the head coach here, on average, right, if you sum up every single week, 2 here, 3 here, 5 here, 5 here, 5 here, 6 there, 4 there, and you did an average, it would average out to 5. And so consistency is the average over a long duration of time. Now, where I see so many women mess up when it comes to consistency is you're like, okay, I want to start working out 3 times a week. And we have other videos that'll get to like how much exercise you actually need. It's a lot less than you think. And 3 times a week is a great, great, great place to start. That is usually broken up in the right intervals, how much you need, okay? I want to start working out 3 times a week. And then 1 week, say you get sick or there's a work emergency or a family thing that happens or it's a long weekend, you go on a trip and you miss that 3rd day. You think, okay, I got to catch it up next week and do 4 so I can stick with my like 3 and 3 and 3 routine. And then say you did 3 the next week, not the 4th that you tried to catch up. And now you're playing this game of like, almost like you're in debt with yourself about how many workouts you said you were going to do. And this becomes very overwhelming. And then you end up invariably sometimes missing a day and feeling like, okay, well, you know what? I got to restart the clock. I got to try this whole thing again. And this is where so many of us, we're super ambitious. We're like, last time 3 days a week didn't work. So this time I need to just be more disciplined. I need to be more accountable. I need to be harder on myself. I need to do 4 days a week this time. So we try to do 4 days and we're doing it consistently. And then maybe you miss a day 1 week and you either think the whole clock has to reset or you're like, I got to do double next week to make up for it. And we start kind of playing these number games with ourselves. And then invariably, if you're trying to catch up and you're trying to do 4 days or 5 days or 6 days or 8 days a week to make up for last week, right? You lose your motivation and eventually days start slipping here and there and you fall off track. And now this is mentally the idea of consistency, what we need to reframe. Because instead of going, oh, I have room for grace, right? Consistency, like I wasn't super consistent last week, but I've been consistent working out 2 times or 3 times for the past year or 6 months. When you fall off track for a week, it doesn't mean you lost your consistency. That's actually part of it, right? Doesn't mean you've lost your consistency because it's not perfect anymore. And then we, quote unquote, fall off track. And then we don't do anything for a long period of time. And then we try to jump back into it. We end up in this hamster wheel. I hate this yo-yo hamster wheel, right? Because typically it's stemming from all or nothings and extremes, right? And we'll talk about all or nothing mindset in a different video. Again, with the perfectionism, there is actually another video coming out soon that is specifically about perfectionism and fitness. But we're going to talk about consistency for today. So what we want to do, we want to redefine what consistency means. What we use as a metric here for consistent or success at Shine is 90%, okay? You can tell, high achievers, 90%, that's a high. If you, like, think about this. When you're in grade school, if you got whatever certain grade on a test, even if you were a super, super, like, straight A+++ student, okay? I know, because I'm one of those as well. You can't get 100% on every single test. Like sometimes, maybe if the teacher has bonus questions, like some tests you get like 105, which is like not realistic. Or a 95 here or there. But like typically we all have this like mental bar of what was like considered, you know what, good enough, right? If I get like above a 90, I'm happy. Or if I get above an 80, like I'm happy. If I get above a 70, I'm happy. And there's nothing better or worse. Like this is an arbitrary benchmark that you set for yourself in your head of like what you deem as successful enough. So I want you to do actually a similar thing with fitness to redefine consistency. So what that benchmark looks like. Maybe if you're just getting started and you're like, hey, 90%, like that feels like, I never was a 90s kid. Like 90 seems too much for me. Set the bar at 70% or 80%. But what number, if you're like, you know what, if I worked out 3 times a week at an 80% success rate, I would be happy. Like I would consider that successful. And that is what we want to redefine consistency to. So when you miss a day, because you invariably will, like you will get sick, there will unfortunately be unexpected situations that arise, work emergencies, personal things, need a mental health day, go on a trip, long weekend, get caught in traffic, like stuff does happen. That's life. Like you're never going to get it perfect. And if you're aiming for perfect, right, you're going to fall short every time. But if you're aiming for consistent, if you're aiming for what we use is like this 90% rule, say in our 6-week challenge, like we say to successfully complete the challenge, we want you to do 90%. Like 90% that's hard. That's still, but that gives you enough room for error to miss a few days and not beat yourself up. Those are your freebie passes, right? We don't differentiate like you did a challenge at 98% versus 88%. It's just, did you hit that proverbial 90%, right? So I want you to take this and apply it. What could consistency look like for you? And what is that rule? Steal ours, like use the 90% rule. Like if I'm doing, and now you want to look at it and don't raise the standard and be like, okay, well, if I'm doing, my actual goal is 3 times a week, but I'm going to set the goal. I'm going to set my goal. It's like 4 times a week at 90%. So I actually hit 3 times. No, because I can see some of you like overachievers already going in that direction. Don't try to play that game. Okay. What you actually would be happy with. So if that's 3 times a week, amazing. Okay. And then give yourself room for error. Let yourself not be perfect, because then you can look back over time. Even if you went on vacation for a week, it doesn't mean you took a break. It's like everyone, hopefully you got to take a vacation. What a privilege to be able to take a vacation. That's great. Doesn't mean the whole clock resets, right? And when you can look back on what you've done over the past several years, this is a mind flip I see a lot of times with people who are like, I've been doing this whole yo-yo thing for years. Like I'll be super consistent and then I'm not, and then I'll be super consistent and then I'm not. I'm like, actually, let's reframe that. You've been consistent. You've been inconsistently consistent, or like consistently inconsistent. Yes, that's the one. You've been consistently inconsistent. So throughout the past 5 years, you've consistently stuck with it for a few weeks at a time, but you have been consistent, because consistent is a character trait. Consistent becomes part of your identity. And when you can see yourself as a consistent person, if you can't see it with fitness yet, look at all the other examples, all the other evidence in your life that you can be consistent with things, right? Have you been in a long-term relationship? How are you with your family? Like, have you been consistently a great sister or a great girlfriend or a great daughter or a great mom, right? Not perfect, but like you've shown up consistently in that relationship. Or with your job, for example. Okay, obviously you take days off at your job. Sometimes you're sick, but like, would you say you're consistently a really good employee or consistently a really good business owner, right? And if you're like, yeah, I'm not perfect, but like over the past like decade, I have a pretty good track record, right? So you've proven to yourself you can be consistent. It's not a matter that like somehow you and exercise won't match. It's there's something going on in your head about trying to get it perfect. But apply that same mindset. Like look at all this evidence that you've either been consistently inconsistent with fitness, but you have been consistent with it, just maybe not at the intervals that you'd like, okay? Or you've been consistent with other things in your life, and apply that to this workout routine. But you first see yourself as a consistent person, so then you can continue showing up consistently. Cool? I hope this helps. And I'll see you. We post motivational, educational, inspirational stuff every week. So please come back, make sure you subscribe and do all the things. Come back next week for more. And if you have any suggestions or topics you'd like us to create content about, feel free to comment. And I'm always looking for new suggestions and ways to help you better.